Remember the morning after my retirement party. No alarms, no traffic, no emails waiting, just a quiet house and a fresh cup of coffee in my hand. Sitting by the window looking out at the street I had driven down for years, but that morning everything felt unfamiliar. For the first time in a long while, there was no rush. There was nothing I had to do, nowhere I needed to be. Instead of feeling free, I felt strangely empty. I had spent decades chasing goals, managing work-solving problems, a life passed in endless busyness, never stopping to think about what would happen when everything suddenly came to a halt. Now, with everything quiet, I had no idea what to do with myself. I wondered if this was the freedom I had imagined. If this sounds familiar, if sometimes you wonder what life will be like after all those busy years, you're not alone. This story isn't just about someone else. It's a journey many of us will go through or have already experienced. It's the story of what was discovered in silence, about learning to feel full again, not by doing more, buying more, or achieving more, but by simply learning how to exist. Life in pursuit, achievement, and disappointment. Throughout the years, life was mostly a series of goals. From career advancement to raising a family, every moment was filled with tasks to complete and goals to reach. There was always something to pursue, something to do, and for a long time, that seemed enough, or at least that's what I thought. When retirement came, I thought I would finally experience the relaxation I had been waiting for. No more deadlines, no more long working hours, a life meant for enjoyment, for the things I had worked hard to achieve. But as the days passed, I realized I didn't feel as I had imagined. There was no peace as expected. Instead, I felt lost. Having raced after goals for so many years, I had forgotten what it felt like to simply exist. The feeling of just sitting still with no purpose, no task demanding my attention. When retirement came, I thought I would have all the time to relax, to rest. But things weren't that simple. The problem was, I didn't know how to just be. A life that had been dedicated to chasing one goal after another now, with everything stopped, the silence became too strange and uncomfortable. The illusion of material satisfaction. As part of my effort to fill the emptiness, I felt I decided to buy a new truck. Midnight blue with shiny chrome accents, leather seats, and that new car smell made me feel like I had achieved something. I had been driving the old sedan for over a decade and thought, I deserve this car. I've worked hard. It's time to reward myself. With pride, I went to the dealership, pointed to the car I wanted, and signed the contract that day. It wasn't just a vehicle, it was proof that I had done something right. The first few days were wonderful. Every trip was an excuse to drive. Even the grocery runs became little drives around town. I parked farther away just to admire the car. Friends and neighbors praised it, and I smiled. I felt something. But here's the thing, that feeling didn't last. After a few weeks, the feeling faded. I drove it into the garage, sat for a moment behind the wheel, waiting for the excitement I had felt when I first drove it off the lot. But it wasn't there. By the end of the month, the car had become just another vehicle. A beautiful car, yes, but the shine and initial thrill began to fade. One afternoon, after a drive with no destination, I parked it in the garage, turned off the engine, and just sat in the silence. Looking at the dashboard, the gleaming seats and chrome accents, I asked myself, is this really all I worked for? That question hit me harder than I had thought. I realized that for years, I had believed that buying more, achieving more, and owning more was the path to satisfaction. But the car couldn't fill the emptiness. The truth is, I had been trying to replace something I lacked, something deeper that couldn't be filled with a shiny new car. Discovering silence and presence. The car was a turning point, but not because it gave me what I was looking for. It showed me how far I had strayed from what really mattered. I realized that I needed less stuff and more quality. Not more destinations, but more presence. Not more noise, but more meaning. Looking back now, the car is still parked in the garage. I still use it to drive around town, but now it's just a tool, not a reward. What I cherish more than that car is the cup of coffee every morning. It's the sound of the wind as I step outside, the way my grandson laughs when I pick him up from school. Those moments don't cost a dime, but they give me a feeling that the car could never provide. I don't think I'm the only one in this story. I believe many of us, especially after 50, begin to feel the quiet question inside what's next. And sometimes we try to answer that question by shopping, planning, or seeking distractions. But perhaps what we really need is to do less and be more present. If you find yourself in that state wondering what's next, feeling lacking, I understand. I've been there. And until I gave up the idea that more would save me, I didn't begin to feel whole again. In the first part of the story, we explored the feeling of emptiness that can arise when life becomes quiet after years of constant busyness. When goals work and plans no longer dominate your days, you might feel lost, as if everything you once pursued suddenly becomes meaningless. But instead of finding fulfillment in material things or achievements, it's the simple moments, the small habits that offer you a sense of wholeness and purpose. In this part, I want to share with you some simple yet incredibly powerful habits that you can start today to enjoy life more without needing to chase after anything new. These habits don't require you to make drastic changes to your life or do anything extraordinary. They're small shifts in your daily routine, but they can make a huge difference in how you experience life, your emotions, and your perspective. 1. Take time to enjoy your coffee every morning. One of the simplest yet most meaningful habits is taking a few minutes each morning to enjoy your coffee. Coffee isn't just a drink to wake you up. It's a habit that brings a sense of calm, helping you start the day gently and without rushing. Try pausing for a moment, doing nothing but sipping your coffee and savoring the taste, looking around and letting your mind relax. This habit will help you step away from the chaos of work and pressure. Starting the day with this quiet moment helps you feel like you're truly living in the present. Things that need to be done can wait, but those few minutes of peace in the morning are invaluable. You don't always need to rush. Sometimes just sitting and appreciating the moment is enough. 2. Take a walk every day. Reconnect with nature. Walking is an incredibly simple habit, but one that provides countless benefits. Daily walks keep your body healthy, boost your immunity, and more importantly, help you reconnect with nature. When you walk, you're not just moving your body, you're also refreshing your mind. In fact, short walks can make you feel more relaxed, calm, and more aware of the world around you. You don't need to walk for long distances. A short walk around your neighborhood will do. Try walking without your phone, without any rush or goal other than to enjoy the moment. Sometimes it's in these quiet moments that we find the most peace. Those slow steps help you reconnect with yourself and the natural world. 3. Practice mindfulness every day. Mindfulness is a habit many overlook, but it's the key to maintaining peace and happiness in life. Practicing mindfulness can be as simple as taking a few minutes to pause and be aware of what's going on around you. It's about focusing on the present moment, not worrying about the future or regretting the past. Mindfulness helps you notice your thoughts and emotions without judgment, allowing you to live fully in the now. You don't need to spend hours meditating. Just a few minutes every day will do. For example, when you drink water, focus on its taste, its temperature, and the sensation of it going down your throat. When you walk, pay attention to every step, every gust of wind, every bird song. Simple acts like these can bring peace, reduce stress, and help you feel more present in your life. 4. Keep your living space tidy and organized. A clean, organized space helps you feel more relaxed and at ease. Cluttered rooms and piles of stuff can make your mind feel chaotic and anxious. That's why it's helpful to create a habit of tidying up every day. This doesn't mean you need to clean your entire house every day, but you can spend a few minutes straightening up, wiping down surfaces, or simply organizing your desk. Having a tidy space helps create a sense of calm and order. When your surroundings are peaceful, it's easier for your mind to follow suit. You don't need to spend hours cleaning. Just a few minutes a day of tidying up can make a huge difference in how you feel in your environment. 5. Connect with loved ones through small calls. In the hustle and bustle of life, we often forget to stay in touch with loved ones. But in reality, there's nothing more valuable than a simple, quiet conversation with family or friends. These calls don't need to be long or have any special reason behind them. Just checking in, saying, "I've been thinking about you," can brighten someone's day. Make it a habit to reach out to a loved one every week, even if it's just to share a small story or ask how they're doing. These calls will not only make you feel closer to those around you, but also remind you that we don't need to be constantly busy to feel valued. True connection comes from the little moments, the simple gestures of care and attention. So, 6. Take care of yourself through simple hobbies. Modern life often makes us forget to take care of ourselves and enjoy our personal hobbies. But spending time on simple hobbies like reading, drawing, or gardening can bring a deep sense of happiness and fulfillment. These hobbies don't just help you relax, they also create space for you to grow as a person in a natural, unhurried way. Try to reconnect with a hobby you used to love, but perhaps have forgotten. Spend a few minutes each day diving into that activity and let it bring you joy and energy. These little things help you feel more fulfilled and remind you that real happiness doesn't always require extravagant experiences. All these habits have one thing in common. They help you reconnect with the present moment and truly enjoy life. Life doesn't always have to be about being busy or constantly striving for more. Sometimes to live a full and meaningful life, all you need to do is slow down, breathe, and appreciate the small moments around you. You don't need to chase success or material things to feel fulfilled. True happiness comes from being present with what you already have and finding joy in the simple everyday moments. Start with these small habits and you'll realize that life, with all its ordinary moments, is a precious gift. In the previous sections, we've explored the profound sense of emptiness that can arise when we find ourselves at a crossroads in life, especially after retirement or major life transitions. We've seen that the search for fulfillment through material things or constant achievement can often leave us feeling hollow, even when we think we've earned the right to slow down. And we've discussed how simple habits such as enjoying your morning coffee, walking without distractions, and practicing mindfulness can help you reconnect with the present moment and feel truly alive again. But here's the thing, as much as these habits are vital for reconnecting with the world around you, they also require deep thinking and decisive action to truly transform your life. Habits alone won't lead to lasting change if we don't adopt the mindset that drives action. Deep thinking is about understanding what truly matters and aligning your actions with that understanding. It's about deciding to create a life of meaning, not simply allowing life to happen to you. In this section, we're going to explore the critical role of deep thinking and how it can fuel decisive action. Deep thinking isn't about thinking for the sake of thinking. It's about thinking with purpose and then acting on those thoughts with intention and action. The kind of action that shapes our lives and future requires a commitment to change, a commitment that begins with a deep understanding of what is truly important to us. Before we can take decisive action, we must first understand what truly matters in life. Often, we get so caught up in the hustle and bustle, so consumed by daily responsibilities, that we forget to pause and reflect on our true priorities. It's easy to fall into the trap of following societal expectations, like constantly striving for success, accumulating wealth, or achieving status. These things are often seen as markers of a successful life, but they don't necessarily lead to fulfillment or happiness. True fulfillment, as we've seen, comes from the simple joys and the deep connections we nurture with others and ourselves. It's found in being present in the moment, appreciating what we have, and letting go of the constant need for more. To truly understand what matters, we must be willing to ask ourselves difficult questions. What do I want out of life? What is truly worth my time and energy? What will bring me peace, happiness, and a sense of purpose? These are questions that require deep thinking. They aren't the kinds of questions we typically ask ourselves on a daily basis. Instead, we're often busy making decisions based on convenience, fear, or the desire to conform. But if we want to lead a life that's rich with meaning, we must be willing to dig deep and honestly evaluate our values, our desires, and our goals. This is where deep thinking begins, with self-awareness and introspection. Once we've gained clarity on what truly matters, the next step is to turn our thoughts into action. Decisive action is about making choices with intention and following through on them with commitment. It's not about being busy for the sake of being busy or about checking things off a to-do list. It's about taking deliberate, purposeful steps toward creating the life we want. In our earlier discussions, we talked about the importance of small, simple habits like enjoying a quiet morning or going for a walk. These habits are powerful tools for living in the present and finding joy in everyday moments. But without decisive action, these habits can simply remain as temporary fixes, not as lasting changes. Decisive action requires commitment. It's about making a promise to yourself that you will show up for your life every day with intention and presence. When we commit to something, we make it a priority. We no longer allow distractions or excuses to derail us from what we truly want to achieve, whether it's maintaining a healthy routine, nurturing relationships, or pursuing personal growth. Decisive action means that we actively take the steps needed to create the life we desire. For example, you may have the goal of leading a more mindful life. It's easy to think about mindfulness or talk about it, but the real change comes when you decide to practice it daily, even when it's difficult or when life gets busy. It's about making the decision that your well-being is worth the time and effort it takes to be present in the moment, whether you're meditating, taking a walk, or simply sitting quietly with a cup of coffee. One of the keys to decisive action is persistence. It's not enough to take action once and expect instant results. True change requires continuous effort. It requires a commitment to stay the course even when things get tough. Persistence is what allows us to break free from old habits and create new ones that serve us better. Take, for example, the habit of walking every day. It's easy to start walking for a few days, but what about when it gets cold or when life throws in a few obstacles? This is where decisive action is crucial. It's about sticking with the habit even when it's inconvenient or challenging. Persistence isn't about doing something perfectly every time. It's about doing it consistently, showing up for yourself even when it feels like a struggle. Persistence in our actions builds momentum, and over time, the small, consistent actions we take add up to create significant change. It's the accumulation of these moments of dedication and commitment that lead to lasting transformation. Whether you're building a new habit, achieving a goal, or simply living a more present life, persistence is the force that will carry you through. As we take decisive action, we will inevitably face resistance. Change is never easy, and it's common to feel fear, uncertainty, or doubt when trying something new. We might question whether we're doing the right thing or whether the effort is worth it. It's important to acknowledge this resistance, but not let it stop us. Fear of change often comes from the comfort of the familiar. We fear the unknown and what it might bring, but the truth is, growth only happens when we step outside of our comfort zones. Deep thinking and decisive action require us to embrace change, to take that first step into the unknown and trust that it will lead us to something better. To overcome this fear, we must remind ourselves of the why behind our actions. Why do we want to make these changes in the first place? What do we hope to gain? The answers to these questions will help fuel our determination and push us past the fear. It's not about eliminating the fear, it's about moving forward in spite of it. Ultimately, deep thinking and decisive action are about living with intention. It's about making sure that everything you do aligns with your core values and desires. When you live with intention, you make decisions that support your overall well-being and happiness, rather than reacting to external pressures or expectations. Living with intention means that your actions are guided by your values, not by what others think or by what society tells you is important. It means taking ownership of your life and choosing to live in a way that reflects who you truly are and what you truly want. This doesn't mean that everything will be perfect or easy, but it does mean that you are actively choosing the direction of your life. Deep thinking is the starting point for meaningful change. It's about understanding what truly matters in your life and then taking decisive action to align your actions with your values. Without deep thinking, we can easily fall into the trap of doing things because we feel we should, rather than because we truly want to. And without decisive action, even the best intentions can remain just that, intentions. But when you combine deep thinking with decisive action, you have the power to transform your life. Every small step you take, every decision you make with intention brings you closer to the life you want to create. And as you persist in your actions, you will begin to see the changes you desire. A life that is more fulfilling, more aligned with your values, and more present. So take a moment to reflect on what you truly want. What kind of life do you want to create? What steps can you take today to bring that vision to life? The power to change is in your hands, and the time to take action is now. We've journeyed together through the first 3 parts, exploring simple yet powerful habits that help us reconnect with ourselves and live a more meaningful life. By embracing deep thinking and taking decisive action, each of us can create a life of fulfillment regardless of age or circumstances. But the journey doesn't stop here. As we've discovered, applying simple habits and deep thought is not a one-time effort. It is an ongoing process of learning and growth. Life isn't just about the destination, it's about embracing the journey and cherishing every moment along the way. In this final part, I want to emphasize that adopting these simple habits and deep thinking is not about doing something once and stopping once you reach a goal. It's about continuous action, constant reflection, and ongoing development. We cannot live by past achievements or material possessions alone. We must learn to be fully present and embrace each moment as it comes. I know that after we retire, after no longer being caught up in the whirlwind of work and family responsibilities, we may feel a void, a life filled with busy schedules, obligations, and the pursuit of goals might make us forget the value of stillness and presence in our daily lives. However, it is only when we pause and allow ourselves to truly stop to seek stillness in simplicity that we realize that fulfillment and happiness come from living with purpose and being present in each moment. Deep thinking is not something that comes naturally to us. It is a habit we can develop over time. This kind of thinking helps us realize that success is not the ultimate goal, but rather a part of the journey. It's not about rushing through life, competing with others, or chasing after what society deems important. It's about living in alignment with what truly matters to you. Life is not a race, and it's not measured by the achievements you can check off. It's about the moments you cherish, the people you connect with, and the way you engage with the world. It's about being present. Every action, every step, and every day is a reflection of what you truly value and the kind of life you want to build. One of the most important lessons I've learned is how we often underestimate the value of simple habits. A quiet morning with a cup of coffee, a leisurely walk in the park, a call to check in with an old friend. These actions might seem insignificant at first, but they are the precious moments that life gives us. It's in these small, often overlooked moments that we find real meaning and connection. We often think happiness comes from big things, from achieving grand goals or accumulating more. But after everything I've realized, that true happiness comes from being present, from fully experiencing what you already have and what you're already doing. Peace doesn't come from things, it comes from being mindful, from living with intention. An important part of this journey is learning how to listen to yourself. After so many years of being busy and focused on responsibilities, we often forget to pay attention to our inner voice. When we're no longer consumed by work or obligations, we may have the opportunity to hear our deepest thoughts, desires, and aspirations. It's during these quiet moments that we realize what really brings us fulfillment. Listening to yourself is an ongoing process, and it's an essential part of achieving peace and happiness. Sometimes the big questions about life only arise when we make time to reflect. These questions aren't meant to be answered quickly. They take time to truly understand. What do you want out of life? What truly brings you joy and meaning? The journey toward fulfillment begins with stopping and listening. You need time to reflect on what you've been through and what you're headed toward. This doesn't mean giving up on your dreams or ambitions. It means understanding that happiness isn't just about what you achieve, it's about learning to live fully with what you already have. Once we've thought deeply and figured out what truly matters, the next step is to take action. But decisive action is not about rushing or pursuing goals without a plan. Decisive action is about committing to what you want, even if it's through small steps. Persistence in action will help you build a fulfilling life where each day you move closer to the values you've set for yourself. Remember, decisive action isn't a one-time thing. It's a lifelong commitment. You won't see results immediately, but every small step will gradually lead to significant change. Just like building a new habit, even if you start with just a few minutes every day, persistence will help you achieve your goals. Decisive action paired with persistence is the most important factor in turning deep thinking into reality. As we take decisive action, we will inevitably face resistance. Change is never easy, and it's common to feel fear, uncertainty, or doubt when trying something new. We may wonder whether we're doing the right thing or if the effort is worth it. It's important to acknowledge this resistance, but not let it stop us. Fear of change often comes from the comfort of the familiar. We fear the unknown and what it might bring. But the truth is, growth only happens when we step outside our comfort zones. Deep thinking and decisive action require us to embrace change, to step into the unknown, and trust that it will lead to something better. To overcome this fear, we must remind ourselves of the why behind our actions. Why do we want to make these changes? What do we hope to gain? The answers to these questions will fuel our determination and push us past the fear. It's not about eliminating the fear, it's about moving forward in spite of it. Ultimately, deep thinking and decisive action are about living with intention. It's about making sure that everything you do aligns with your core values and desires. When you live with intention, you make decisions that support your overall well-being and happiness, rather than reacting to external pressures or societal expectations. Living with intention means that your actions are guided by your values, not by what others think or by what society tells you is important. It means taking ownership of your life and choosing to live in a way that reflects who you truly are and what you truly want. This doesn't mean that everything will be perfect or easy, but it does mean that you are actively choosing the direction of your life. Deep thinking is the starting point for meaningful change. It's about understanding what truly matters in your life and then taking decisive action to align your actions with that understanding. Without deep thinking, we can easily fall into the trap of doing things because we feel we should rather than because we truly want to. And without decisive action, even the best intentions can remain just that, intentions. But when you combine deep thinking with decisive action, you have the power to transform your life. Every small step you take, every decision you make with intention brings you closer to the life you want to create. And as you persist in your actions, you will begin to see the changes you desire, a life that is more fulfilling, more aligned with your values, and more present. So take a moment to reflect on what you truly want. What kind of life do you want to create? What steps can you take today to bring that vision to life? The power to change is in your hands, and the time to take action is now. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss the upcoming exciting videos.